So what goes through someone's head when they're running for 24 hours? A lot, but also not much. Running, or just simply moving for 24 hours can be quite daunting. When we think of the whole 24 hours in one go, frankly, it makes me question my own sanity. But there are several psychological techniques that we can use in the race and before the race to make it easier on the day itself. These techniques or skills, like any other skill, can be practiced, can be improved, and can be optimised for race day. I'm going to go through a handful of these techniques or skills that I use in 24-hour races, but also in racing on the trails, shorter distances, and even like during harder sessions. My absolute favourite psychological technique to use during a race or training is to break things down into smaller chunks. So for 24 hours, quite simply, I focus on 1 hour at a time. Depending on the size of the lap, I might also break that down to 1 lap at a time. If you're racing in a marathon, it might be a mile at a time or a kilometre at a time if you'd like a smaller section. If it's a trail race, you might get from one checkpoint and really focus in on just getting to that checkpoint rather than stepping back and looking at the frankly quite daunting bigger picture. Another way I like to break things down in a longer race is to use my food and my fueling to do this. So if I plan to eat every 20 or 25 minutes, I actually just focus on that. So it'd be like, okay, I've started my run, say it's a 2-hour run. I know that at 25 minutes I'm eating something. So I've only got to think about that. And I'm 10-15 minutes down, I've only got 10 minutes until I eat my snack. I quite enjoy my snacks. And at 25 minutes I'll kind of run for a few more, like a little bit longer, and then I'll look at my watch and go, it's only 15 minutes until I need to eat again. And then I'll eat again. And I actually find that really helps you break down like longer runs and races on the trails and the roads. The flip side of that is that you're getting in the nutrition you need as well. So not only does it distract you from the length of the race you're doing, but it helps you focus on a process that's going to get you to that finish line quicker. As the race goes on, you might choose to shorten the amount of time that you break your race into. So it might be at the start you're focusing on 1 hour at a time. It might be you have a run-walk strategy where you run for 55 minutes and walk for 5, and that breaks it out nicely. But as you get more tired, like both physically and psychologically, you might make that a little bit smaller. You might run for 28, walk for 2, or 10 and 1. And these are actually, you're still running and walking similar amounts of time, but you're just shortening the amount of time that you have to focus. Something you might hear discussed regularly is visualisation. And this can be both positive and negative. It's something that I use before the race in training. So positive visualisation whilst I'm out training, normally on an easy run, funnily enough. I imagine the race going well. I go through the emotions of getting to the finish line, like winning a gold medal with my teammates. And it helps you kind of process the emotions that you're going to feel on the day, so that when you get to that race, you're not overwhelmed by them. Another thing I've used in the past is negative visualisation. This is something I don't use too close to a race. It might be 3 or 4 weeks out. But I'll go through the emotions. I'll imagine myself in a bad situation in a race, and I'll go through the process of getting out of that situation. So it might be that I've run out of food in a trail race and I'm getting through to the next checkpoint low on energy, and I'll go through how that makes me feel in training and process and build the capabilities to cope with that on the day. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is perception of effort. There's some really interesting work by Professor Samuel Makora that looks at how our rate of perceived effort is changed by the environment around us and what's happening. So with this information, I try and trick my brain or use this knowledge to make things feel easier. So if people are overtaking us, that makes us feel slower, but also makes it feel like we're working harder. Our perception of how fast we're going, how hard we're working, is really impacted by other people and the environment around us. So we can use that. So what I try and do is I focus on someone that I'm going quicker than. I focus on people outside of the race, someone walking around the outside of the race. That I'm going to look at them, and my subconscious is going to go, well, you're going quicker than they are. If they start overtaking you and they're just out for a gentle stroll in a park, then maybe there are other issues at play in there. But your perception of effort, your perception of how hard things are, really does change how it feels physically. So if you can tinker with it, if you can trick yourself into feeling that things are a little bit easier, and a really good way of doing that is just by smiling, then it's going to make things physically feel easier. That's it. It's simple. And all of these techniques are things you can practice in training. be it on an easy run, in a harder session, during a long run, or a training race building up to the main goal. The more you practice them, the better you'll become at using them when it matters. Hopefully that's a slight insight into what goes on in here during a 24-hour race. I can't give you all the secrets because some of them are dark and mysterious. But if you have enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe and share it with other people that might find it useful. I'll try and come up with another subject for the next one.